Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Women in Data, for inviting me. My name is Ashley M. Scott. I'm a data analyst and a Women in Data Science ambassador in the metropolitan New York City area. And if you're here to learn about some essential data skills that will last you for years to come, then this is a session for you. Also, I encourage you to write in the comments any specific questions that you may have so we can follow up on the best tools and resources for you. So in today's session, Skills to Last a Decade, I'm going to share some tips that I've done to improve my professional development and data skill set. So whether you're curious about the data field, you're a data newbie, data pro, a guru, I believe that some of the things that we're going to be talking about today can help you in any of those stages. So first of all, I just want to encourage you that you got this. We're going to be sharing some tips that you can do from the comfort of your home. So it's going to be a really eye-opening opportunity for us to just think about what we're doing now, what we can be doing, so that we can really jumpstart into this data venture of yours. So let's begin. Next slide. All right, so for the agenda today, I'm briefly going to reintroduce myself, and then I'm going to discuss what is data analytics, the importance of networking to form relationships, some technical skills that is needed for a data career, and defining essential soft skills, channeling your emotional intelligence for your current and your next role. Next slide. So again, my name is Ashley. I am a data analyst in the New York City area. I work at a medical school in the Bronx area. And in this role, I help to ensure continued quality improvement in medical education. And it's very cool that I had the experience to work in public health, business administration, and data analytics, all with the help of my MBA program. I was a lead researcher at their Strategic Consulting Institute, and I had the opportunity to collaborate with government officials from Tanzania, East Africa. And in this strategic consulting project, we were trying to create a tertiary healthcare facility for patients. And the setup was to be somewhat of a resort-like setting after a medical procedure. So this was really eye-opening for me, again, because I didn't know years ago how I would be able to combine the different industries that I'm involved in now into a big picture of consulting and helping people understand how to use data to make business driven decisions. In my spare time, I work alongside other data enthusiasts to just educate women about data career opportunities and just spreading the awareness about the advancement of data careers, specifically for minorities and women in the tech industry. And I wanted to just show you my quote unquote data career journey. And I say data in parentheses because it wasn't a straight line for me. As you can see, back in 2014, I was working as a clinical research assistant at the New York State Department of Health. I was also very involved in my campus. One of the jobs I had was working at the Department of Residential Life. I then continued on my career with the Department of Health, but working in healthcare insurance. And I was able to graduate SUNY Albany with a Bachelor's of Science in Public Health. And once I graduated, I came back to the New York City area and I started working at NYU Langone Health. I then decided to do a one-year MBA program at Mercy College and finish. And with all of the experience, as I stated before, from helping, leadership for consulting projects, using data analytics, having my healthcare background as well, I really was able to see how different elements were being able to come together. And knowing that I could essentially transfer my skills from one industry and then land my first data role was very rewarding to me. And one of the reasons why I decided to be a data ambassador, because sharing my story not only shows the progression of how the career venture can be different for everyone, but we all bring something unique to the table. And when you're thinking about data analytics, this is very important because your stakeholders are not going to have a very narrow path as you did. So being able to connect with different walks of life of people is very important, especially when you think about communicating data, something that is often feared about, confusing to many people. Now you can really highlight areas of improvement and how we can really build better programs based on information that's generated to us. So enough about me. We're going to talk about the data, and let's go to the next slide. So when I did a generic search on what data analytics is, a lot of these words came up. So varying from technical skills to when do you use data analytics, data science was a very big buzzword. It was very interesting to figure out that different words in like-minded industries can all come together and be part of data analytics. And in a simple sense, data analytics is the process of examining data sets to draw conclusions based on the information provided. So some specific analytic techniques can allow people to take raw data and uncover patterns and trends and then get valuable insights from it. And I wanted to leave a little food for thought in your mind. According to IBM, 90% of the world's data was created between 2015 and 2016 alone. So I read that and I just thought to myself, the amount of data, the volume of data is significantly increasing with this digital revolution that we have. So with this in mind, it really allowed me to think, wow, like departments are really going to want a robust data analytics department, and they're going to value it very essential because businesses want to know how to put their information to use in a strategic way. And that's really how data analytics is really becoming popular in businesses now. And I wanted to focus first on the importance of networking. So, whether you're in the data field, you're aspiring to be, some of the best things you can do is really hone in on your interpersonal skills and start networking. Especially with everything going now, the help of social media platforms has been very helpful because you can just type in the search engine data analyst, data scientist, things that resonate with your long-term goals and be connected with people in those industries. And if you were an extrovert, you could probably reach out to your school, your job to find out if they have any social networking events, any partnerships with other companies that talk about data analytics. There's also happy hour events, work and school seminars as well. And if you're an introvert or like the time that we're being in now, you are limited to where you can go. Connecting with people on professional websites such as LinkedIn has been very helpful. If you are seeing someone who resonates with something that you want to do, one of the best things you can actually do is just send them an email and just ask them, hey, can I have a moment of your time? Is it okay if we can Zoom? Just so you can still try to get that interaction. But it just starts with the conversation. And this is one of the best things that I did when I graduated business school because I didn't have a computer science degree or data career experience. So from sending personalized emails and reaching out on LinkedIn was what was helpful for me. And I appreciated it because it was free and easy to use. Just expanding my job search and the importance of networking can really help you with landing your next role. And I say that because when you build connections with people, they remember, what you've talked about, and they can possibly connect you with openings at their job. You can also stay up to date with your industry because you can bounce ideas off with your colleagues and possibly collaborate and find solutions for problems that you or your colleagues were experiencing in the past. You can also build a supportive group. You now have the ability to share ideas with someone who enjoys the industry as much as you do. And I don't know what's better than that because being able to just piggyback off of what someone else is doing and how you can also help them and create new solutions is really great. And like I said before, just improving your interpersonal skills, your communication skills. And the reason why I stand specifically with LinkedIn is because a few months ago, I included this picture back in October, was my first event in the New York City area with Women in Data. And a representative actually reached out to me just because of my LinkedIn content. So knowing that you can use it in a positive way to expand your data community, since that time, I was able to connect with hundreds of people across the world through webinars, social media, and just sharing my platform and just talking about some of the changes that data has had in public health and higher education, things that I'm familiar with. And I want to transition now into the meat of data careers, the technical skills. And one of the women in data science members, Laura, she did a really great job in explaining to us what we should do when we think about technical careers, right? And she had mentioned deciding what is your desired role. If you were to do a generic search on what each of these roles are, these are just a few: data scientists, data analysts, they vary in what their objective is, what the job description is, what tools they're going to be using, what is their end goal. And I promise you, if you were to look at what a business analyst does compared to like an engineer, you will see that the skill set changes for the most part. So when I share with people the technical skills, I wanted to first advocate networking, because then you can pick people's brains on what are you doing? What tools do you use? What is your job like? What is your day to day? You then get your insight, you do a little market research, and you figure out, okay, these are the skills that I have or I want to improve on. This looks like a job that I want to do. And then you can filter out your list from there. So, looking at all of these data careers can be overwhelming. And if you find something that resonates with you, what you're doing and your long term goals, is really great, because then you can start thinking about the technical skills. And experts have said you should actually be a proficient person, expert really, in at least one of the technical skills and knowledgeable in the rest of them. Because to be the expert in everything is hard to do. And I'm not saying that it's impossible, but usually if you have like that one specific person that's like a pro at SQL, pro at Python, Excel, etc., it's easier to then advocate like, okay, this is what you're going to be using for the time of your job, and you really become proficient at it. There's also a lot of certificate programs that you can get. I know specifically for Excel, you can be a Microsoft Power user and things like that. So it just helps add to your credibility of what you can do on that platform. And once you have an idea for what job you want, the skill sets that you are going to acquire with that job, then you can practice for the potential interview. And I'm so glad that I was able to network with people and ask them, like, what was the technical interview look like? Some people had a phone screen, some people had a take-home assessment, a virtual interview. So the content of what an interview would look like a few years ago is really changing, especially with the pandemic that we're going on with now. So being able to say that you're proficient in one area, if they were to test you or ask you specific questions, because you are an expert in one specific software, you can show the ins and outs, the shortcuts that you've learned, and really hone in on why you're the best person specifically for that role. So that's why I wanted to just advocate the importance of networking, asking people their feedback, and then doing the research after that to figure out what is the best steps for you to take on your data career goal. So the next slide is about soft skills. And people often wonder, are soft skills important? And this would not be a data presentation if I did not share some data with you. So 63% of all jobs will be soft skills intensive by 2030. Now we're in 2020 now. So just imagine how much it's going to change within the next 10 years, whether it's soft skills or another element of your job. And 89% of executives say that soft skills are equally as important or more important than the technical skills. So I don't know if you've ever encountered anyone that really knows their stuff. They're a computer guru, technical guru, but when you try to have a conversation with them, it it doesn't resonate the same. You get lost in what they're talking about, and they're not able to capture you. They're not able to communicate with you in an effective way. And being able to have the ability to have soft skills, technical skills is a really unique combination. A lot of people are trying to figure out how they can blend those two. So that's something that I really strongly encourage you to practice. And 92% of executives say that it's difficult to find people with soft skills. So as I said, you have a lot of people that are able to get the technical skills from online courses, boot camps, just school programs altogether, graduate degrees, or college bachelor's degrees as well. But it's hard to teach the soft skills. It's hard to teach how to communicate, how to persuade, how to have empathy and show emotions with others. So having the data, having the numbers, you have to have a very equal balance really for the two. The next slide. So again, just to reiterate this emotional intelligence, right? Because you're confident now in the role that you want, the tools that you need. And this is a time when you use your emotional intelligence to ask, like, what are you looking for in the role? What are some of the tools that are often used in this job? And once you're able to really use the software, you're able to use critical thinking and be able to invest in what you've learned, which is great, right? And 71% of employers say that they value emotional intelligence over IQ in their employees. So being able to step out of the norm, like, okay, I can, complete X, Y, and Z. Now having this conversation and opening up to, all right, who is my audience? What action should I take to solve the problem? What does this mean? Is this important to the people that I'm going to be presenting to? So having that art of persuasion, visualization, is this appealing to my audience? Do they get what I'm saying through my verbal communication and sometimes nonverbal communication? My presentation, does it capture the audience? Do they want to listen to what I'm saying, or they're just waiting for an opportunity to leave the meeting? Problem solving skills and critical thinking, are they able to come to me in confidence? Because a lot of companies are going towards the data track, and it's very interesting to think that people who have been in leadership for a long time have just used their level of expertise. And now data is somewhat trying to advocate, or I should say, shedding light on what businesses need to do. And if it goes against someone who has been an expert in the field for so long, it's not always easy to say, hey, what you've been doing for the last 5 years hasn't helped the business, but I can change that with these recommendations. You don't want to insult anyone. You want to make people feel comfortable with the data. You want to show that there's a person behind it, recommendations, so that people can start thinking about how they can now adapt to the business environment. So again, just being able to provide that insight, improving the bottom line, and asking insightful questions, so that when it's time to present it and people come to you and say, hey, what can we do about X, Y, and Z, you can then support it with the data in a way that everyone feels comfortable and they know that you're showing empathy and compassion on what is important to them. So this concludes the parts of the essential skills, and I just want to congratulate you for taking the first step towards investing in your data journey. And considering some of the skills for your future is very important, because this is a very exciting career. as you continue your journey, I encourage you to implement some of these skills, these interpersonal skills, networking, and things like that. Set goals for yourself and really figure out what fits with what you like, what you're good at. And whether this is your first attempt or you're a data pro, this is really the great time to just connect with others and start a conversation on how we can continue your skill set and how you can pass that on to other people as well. So we can, as I said, diversify the industry and bring more minorities and women here so that we can help get the conversation going and really change the data future. And I want to thank you again. Feel free to stay connected with me on LinkedIn, on email, or Instagram. I'm more than happy to connect and just talk about different ways that we can get involved and, more importantly, help you with your data career. Because as you can see, I'm living proof. It doesn't have to be straight out of school, it can be after a little work experience, and then you find your way meshing everything together. So, thank you again. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.